with Rakib Ehsan, who's a social policy analyst who joins us now. Rakib, welcome to you. And we've invited you on partly, if not mainly, to talk about this announcement Liz Truss made about an hour ago. And it's really technical, but I think you and I will agree that it's actually quietly, potentially very, very important. This idea that she will roll back, actually, what we were talking about Thatcher, what was originally a Margaret Thatcher idea, that people would be taxed as individuals, not as a household. Across most of the world, you're taxed as a household. Why does that make a difference? Because it means you can't, for instance, as a working woman or working man, give your tax-free allowance to your spouse. It effectively means that we have a couple penalty that limits easy family formation. It's such a technical and complicated area, but I'm trying to sort of boil it right down. How important do you think?
Well, I think firstly, Colin, I think it's really good to see that the family is being discussed more in our mainstream politics. For some time, it was a no-go zone. In my view, it was largely a non-topic, which I thought was a crying shame. So I think that it's really good to see the family as an institution of great social value being discussed more in the context of the Tory leadership contest. Now, in terms of these tax changes being discussed, I do think that we should have a system where parents are able to transfer their personal tax allowance to their partner ideally through marriage or a civil partnership. And I think that would really, if you have that system, that could help parents across Britain to be able to use those alliances in terms of devoting that towards childcare or the care of relatives. And I think crucially, people might frame this as some kind of unusual reactionary proposal. The reality of the matter, Colin, is that this would bring us very much in line with the rest of Europe, where the institution of the family is recognised within those tax systems.
And yet, Rakib, you wouldn't have heard it, but about half an hour ago, I interviewed the Conservative leader of Darlington Council, and you could sense he just didn't want to hear about this. It was all, it brackets the Tories as the nasty party, and he was trotting out the old tropes about all family, it's a diverse culture of families and they're all sort of equal. The data shows they're not. And it's not to stigmatise single parents. I'm a single parent. But it's to be honest about the data and the outcomes produced by different family structures.
I think that's a very fair point, Colin. I think there's a great deal of research done by organisations such as the Centre for Social Justice, which shows that there are certain family structures which are more effective when it comes to positive youth outcomes. And more times than not, that is ultimately a stable family unit, a two-parent home, spearheaded by a married couple. And I don't think that we should be afraid to say that. If that is what the data is telling us, then that should inform social policy. That's not to say that every single two-parent household is going to produce excellent human beings who are going to perform exceptionally well in various spheres of life. But what we're talking about is, what is the social model? What is the family structure which is most strongly associated with those positive youth outcomes, whether it's mental well-being, cognitive development, not being involved in crime, personal development, physical health. And I think that we really need to have an honest discussion about what are those social frameworks and ultimately family dynamics which are most strongly associated with the personal development of young people living in Britain.
Rakib Ehsan, as ever, really good to talk to you. Refreshing voice. Thanks a lot.